ACryInShame, part of the Long Drive I team, bringing you some more Factorio. This is right after we finished our oil setup here. We're trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing next, like what needs to go. So I started going for our actual mission itself, creating the rocket silo. I realized I need a lot of research in order to do that, including modules. So modules sound like a good idea, get modules going on. So I'm looking around, trying to figure out how I want to go about this, and I kept thinking back in my head, like, over and over and over again, that I wanted to redo everything. Like, it's still not that theme of just redoing the whole setup, and that's really what I want to do, but I haven't really gotten around to actually doing that, and really thinking about doing that in the near future. And I can tell you right now, even the next episode, we're not going to be doing that. It's a lot of effort. But I did also notice there wasn't really that much science being created here on the third Science Pack 3s, and I was really trying to figure out as to why that was. Everything looked to be fine, you know, the chest was set up and all the ratios were all good. And I kind of eventually figured out that it's the wrong chest. See, since it's a particular type of chest, it's actually preventing it from actually going into the system and being counted as everything. So I tried to switch the chest around at one point to see if it could pull things to it, which still didn't work because there's nothing to pull to it. Not that I thought maybe there was like some storage, some stored on the side. It was a little weird. Like I was really trying to figure it out, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I mean, one of the issues was the chest was the incorrect chest. But beyond that, there's actually something else that was wrong with it that I do go over a little bit later, and you'll see what it is in a bit. See, I'm looking at different things, and I realize that that's my character, you know, that's my character inventory. Now, I'm trying to figure out, like, well, we're trying to figure out a good way to see everything that's in the logistic network, too. I couldn't really figure out a good way of doing that, either. Now it's just a pain. Like, look at all the stats, and, you know, everything is set up correctly. All the individual pieces are set up. But I noticed, like these four on the right side here just weren't doing anything. You know, all 8 of them should be running, but only 4 of them are running. So why aren't the other 4 running? Well, you'll see in a little bit when I actually do figure it out that it was something pretty stupid. So they're all copied across. There's no difference in any of the setups. It's not the inserters. It's something far dumber. Still trying to figure it out. For some reason I had all those robots when I was deconstructing a few items. Like picked up those roboports from like last episode, and so I got them all out of my inventory. But still close. Not quite there, buddy. So, here it is. You see, I'm looking at the network stuff right now because they're not in the network. They're not within the range of the network. I couldn't see that because I'm colorblind. So I can't see the line between the red and the yellow. I just looked at it and was like, wait, that side looks a little darker than the other side. Oh man, it's not even in the network. So those 8 on the right side, the 4 on the right side, weren't working because they weren't even in the network. It was so dumb. I was like, really? They're not even part of the network, so I need to put a robot port down. So as you can see, I'm crafting the robot port now, and I'm waiting to get it finished so I can place it down. It was so stupid. I'm like, this entire time, I'm like, why is this not set up right? Why isn't this working? Well, everything looks perfectly fine. It's not even part of the network. No, everything works. And then, of course, later on I figured out that because when I switched the chest, I had switched it to the incorrect chest. Like I was talking about earlier, that it was the wrong chest. So I ended up fixing that later. But it was kind of funny that I was like spent all that time trying to figure it out, like what's wrong, and it's like, oh well, you know, that little thing right there is wrong. But I'm at this point now where I need to go and kill some biters. So I'm trying to just grab some quick fuel real quick, and grabbing some quick fuel real quick because that makes sense. And I noticed here now to like is immediately auto trashing the wood because I have it set up that way, so I had to remove that and then throw it in there and then reset up the auto trash for wood. Alright, so we're gonna go find some biters. Because we're gonna get some alien artifacts. And I take out these biters pretty easily. Bam, bam, bam. I've noticed at this point that I can take even like 1 or 2 medium biters pretty easily. So with the higher end weapons, and I'm just like quick flaming, letting the buildings burn, just being really careful not to hit the trees again, because we all saw what happened last time I hit the trees. So taking out those two bases, I go up to this huge base, I get swarmed, and that's all the damage I take. The steel armor is just fantastic for the early game. Like, you can just eat away at these guys. Just see, quick flames, just let them burn, and just keep shooting the little guys as they come out. Quick and easy. Done. So, I go find another base, and I go hunt some more biters. It's a bit of biter killing, doing a bit of cleanup, and just trying to get some more alien artifacts. And that's the only reason I'm really out here killing them, is just to get those artifacts. I noticed here that, like, I got pretty close to dying. Look how close that was. Like, I got, almost died, man. So I noticed there was the medium biters, they weren't dying nearly as quickly. They were just taking the hits. And like, this is where the point where it's like, alright, it's getting a little more challenging now, because those medium biters are kind of tough. So we're fighting medium biters now, we're not fighting the little guys anymore. So I place these guys down. It's kind of a backup. Ooh, and this is where I almost torched myself because I didn't switch my weapon around. So, really bad on my part. I almost killed myself with fire. Here we are. I use a flamethrower to weaken them up. Get some quick little flames there. I'm switching pretty quickly, hitting the Q button so I can switch between my weapons. Let them run to the flames. It seems really useful. Took out the building. They stop spawning. So I take the hits for the worms, take them down, and pick up my little artifact prizes. So yeah, I pushed all of them back pretty far. The closest biters are a good distance away. And that's why I haven't really been attacked. The trees have really been absorbing all that pollution and just taking it all up. So we haven't really been taking any big biters. We haven't had swarms attacking us. Like, we've been pretty good. And like, the few biters that we have had weren't that tough. So now we're at a point where we're pretty set up. I mean, it's at a case where just efficiency is all we're running with now. So, I drop these guys off, make sure I get all those nice little science packs going. You can see that the other one is now more or less fixed. So yeah, look at all those. Yep, num. Oh, that's good. Go. Alright, so I think this is where I realized my mistake on the last setup. Not 100% of that, but I'm pretty sure. No, continue on. And this is where I'm kind of figuring, like, what is I want to do this? This is where I'm, like, really contemplating the idea of just redoing the base. And just, doing the whole setup and talking about. The only thing that's really hurting, like, for me not to want to do that yet is the fact that I still have the iron sitting there, I still have the copper there. They're both kind of in the way, and I want to take care of them so they're out of the way before I start tearing everything apart and rebuilding it. So I'm kind of waiting for that. And I started just dropping this down real quick and doing some layers. And I think it was at this point where I started thinking of, like, can the robots do something for me? So I'm trying to look around, like, trying to think of, like, where I can put things down or how I want to set this up and kind of put it in a grid system. Put some more of these things down so I can start auto-crafting things too. So I want to auto-craft, the robot ports, so there's always one available to me rather than always waiting for it. So this is more of me, the quality of life setups that I like doing. And I honestly do like doing those. There we go. They just make things so much easier when you have these setups or auto-crafting these items that you use really often. I noticed that there's a smaller machine, so I went and upgraded those machines. Completely unnecessary, really. But, nah. Thought, why not? Not gonna do any harm, right? I'm auto-crafting those things anyway. Alright. At this point, we get some little solar panels set up, so I thought I'd grab those and start getting ready on the setup for that, realizing that that's completely clogged because there's no limit on the number of copper being placed in that chest. So that's my next fix. Let's try to fix this setup. So I connected it with the circuit network. I made sure that it's a case of 200. Picked up all that extra copper. I think it's 100, sorry. So that way it won't grab the extra copper unless it's needed. And this is we're at a point where we're kind of like running low on copper. So I went ahead and let the robots pick up all the extra copper from my inventory. I still love that. They just yoink it right out of the inventory. It's fantastic. So that's all set up. Yeah, so at this point you can kind of see where the copper is like really running low, but there still is a number of them running. So I'm really trying to get all that set up, all that cleaned up. So I expand this setup so that we can cover all the copper and pick all that copper up. I don't like wasting resources like on the ground, like the resources that are sitting there like ready for you to pick up. I really don't like wasting those, so I just pick them all up. So doing that, getting all that resource off the ground, waiting for the copper and iron to go away so I can do my whole reset on my base. And what I'm going to do with the reset is I'm going to completely tear everything down, right? And then we're going to rebuild it, and then I'm going to kind of do a walk around of what I rebuilt. So looking for a new copper setup because that's really low copper and we need copper to continue what we're doing. So I found the smaller one, the other one by the coal. This is where I realized that we had that mistake of the chest switch. See, they're still crafting. They should no longer be crafting because we have enough in the box, right? Nothing's changed. They're still in the network. Everything's set up. I have the wrong chest. It's the wrong logistics chest. It's a requester chest. Requester chests don't count as part of the network because they're an output. So you have to put down a provider chest. I have the wrong chest. So it took me a little while to figure out that I have the wrong chest. It was pretty funny. I'm sitting there just like, again with this. Why is this all causing issues? So I fix it and I'm like, finally, that's done and over with. So here's the coal train. I realized I can't really work with the coal train by itself because I couldn't really work with that in the kind of switching between coal and copper back and forth. So I'm like, all right, time to do the next train. We have to make a third train. It's going to have a complete new setup because one of the biggest things we got to worry about is now there's going to be 2 trains on one track. And that causes issues, which takes me a while to figure out the fact those issues exist, even though I've done trains 1,000 times before. This is just me being lazy about it. So I'm trying to autocraft trains and autocraft this and autocraft that and spending all this time doing all these setups. And this is what I'm pretty much doing right now. It's more setups with the autocrafting. This really is a case of me being a little lazy about it. I really don't need to be autocrafting all of this. I can craft it in my inventory and I can keep walking. Like, it's not a big deal. But yet, here I am doing autocrafting setup. There's nothing wrong with that, really. It's just a case of I could be spending my time doing other things. Here we go, just setting up that. Now this is where I'm doing the chest setup. I'm currently setting an auto-crafting area for the different chests so that we'll have all the different logistic chests. So first you need the steel chest set up to make that work, and then you need the next set. Then you need steel requesting. And seeing how like it's like right outside the range of what I want. In the near future I'll be adding a mod that was in the past where it changed the coloration so that someone like myself who's colorblind can see what they're looking at, which will be nice. There we go. I was also setting the amount to 10. This is the kind of me setting up to not waste all my resources in crafting things I've done before, or that I already have set up. Like, I don't want to spend all my steel resources crafting steel chests, you know? So I want to make sure that everything's limited. There we go with the auto crafting. Get rid of that tree that's in the way. So here's our four setups, one for each of the logistic chests. Doing the base setup, where pretty much that center setup is the chests, you know, the input there, and then the outputs will be on the side. I mean, I don't really want to explain this setup because it's pretty straightforward. You know, I'm just having that one chest that has all the materials, all outputting. I didn't feel like setting like the cross setup that you can normally do with the four chests because they're all going to pull the same materials. It doesn't matter what crafting recipe you wish to use. It's all the same type of materials though. And so here I am looking at noticing that I have a really low setup for these circuits. The circuits are just being needed everywhere. Like, I constantly am running low on circuits. I just need its own setup. That's what I need. I just need a setup just for circuits. On its own, for its own purposes. I'm trying to figure out like an easy way of doing the setup too. There's just so much that I like want to do and get done. A big part of just the infrastructure of everything that I just have too many pieces already down that I really need to just rebuild it from the ground up. I'll continue talking about that over and over again too, by the way. I really need to do it. I just haven't done it. But here I am doing this setup. Yeah, actually, when I was actually setting this up and like really thinking about it, it didn't seem nearly as long as me watching it again right now and trying to commentate on it. 'Cause like at this point, it's like I am just kind of like looking at myself like, wow, why did it take me so long to realize I just need to put down a chest and put that inserter on it and just flip it around and do all that. It's like it takes a lot longer than I thought. I spent so much time thinking about everything, how to do it correctly and whatnot, that it's just a case of you can just do it. Like, you're gonna tear it all down anyway, just do it, man. Come on, Lou, you know what you're doing. But here it goes. Alright, so I really do like those robots though. They're such an awesome setup. Waiting for those few things to craft so I can get this setup done and ready to go, and then they'll provide me with all the chests I need in the future rather than me constantly crafting more chests. I hate crafting. I spend so much time crafting. Like, I spend there like sitting there doing nothing, waiting for things to craft. I don't want to continue doing that. Things should just be ready for me to pick up and keep going. Just keep reusing whatever resources you need to keep me fueled. I want to get rid of all these trees for the. Like I said, I'm getting ready. Like, it's getting there to the point if I can just auto craft everything, it'd be great. It'd be fantastic. Alright, so you can kind of see there that there isn't much iron coming out left. Like, there's only a few things of iron left, only a few things of copper. And I'm currently trying to get... What am I doing right now? I was trying to set up the grid. Because I want to get this area... Because here's the thing. I was setting up for an auto-crafting section on the side here. And the biggest reason for that auto-crafting section is it's getting preparations to tear everything down and rebuild it, but not all in one shot, because I want things to continue running as much as possible without me, you know, stopping production completely. Not even just overthinking and I should just tear it all down and rebuild it from, you know, the ground up. But I was trying to be like a little more intelligent about it, trying to be so something smart. So I'm looking around, trying to figure out how I want to go about this. Still in this like little situation of like not quite production with the copper because I still haven't fixed that issue yet. Haven't made the train yet. So here we go. Here's my setup that I have for a grid of auto crafting. So you have the 4 on the outside, and you have the 1 chest in the middle, which is your input. Those 4 chests I just placed down there are outputs. So then with this setup, just like this, you have the input in the center, and the outputs on those corner pieces. This will be an auto crafting grid. And I realized here, I was like, oh, you can also do the tiles. You can actually auto place tiles. That was kind of cool. So I wanted to redo that setup. Alright, more of that module stuff. So I wanted to still having issues with the whole using that correctly, but still. So I wanted to have it where it's like exact, so that if I wanted to use the tiles, I could. Now that you have the grid, here's how the grid's going to work. I can place one down at each of the corners like that, and they overlap each other. But of course, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, something doesn't seem right. I'm missing something in the grid. And then I realized shortly thereafter that I'm not placing the grid correctly. That's not how my grid is set up. That's not how the grid works. So I started thinking, like, if I could fill in that little gap in the center, it's going to be created with other pieces. But it didn't really work out. So I tore it all down. Whoosh. And then I realized here we're like, right, it overlaps. So this is the overlapping grid. This is how the grid is placed. Just like that. And then each of those sections could autocraft something differently. These are just plus grids with inputs in the middle, or input in the middle, and the outputs on the corners. So that's all set up. That's how I'm going to set things up later on, but I didn't want to set up yet and trying to, like, this is me like thinking over and over again, just trying to figure out what it is that I really want to do. And I'm just overthinking things as usual. This is what I do. Just overthink everything. But even I'm here rewatching myself going, come on, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? Just get your things together, man. It ain't that hard. Just play the game. But I really do like playing this game. It's a lot of fun. Even these recordings are a lot of fun. And I like the idea of doing like the really fast narrating of things. It's just the point where it's a little difficult to really know what I was thinking at the time, which is kind of the input that I like to add, like, this is why I'm doing these things kind of thing, you know? So I'm at a point now where I'm just doing auto crafting. See, remember how we had the trains? I was talking about the second train a while back, and how I'm going to autocraft the train, but then I wanted to autocraft the chest to make the autocrafting setup, and then we ran out of circuits, and now we're finally getting back to actually setting up the train. I get so sidetracked from different things that I want to do that it's crazy. It really is a little crazy the way I do that. Just go back and forth. It's just a little nuts, you know? So here we are, just setting it up. Now the gist of it is that you have to make the outputs so they're all restricted, so you're not wasting all your resources on crafting all these different items that you have set up, especially with the auto crafting. Like, you really got to be careful with auto crafting, not using all your resources. Still working on that research, still trying to get to that rocket silo. Still want it. Still gonna be sending things out into space and winning the game. But got all that set up. It should be crafting new trains, and I have it set up so that I think it crafts 2 of each of the train parts, like 2 engines and then 2 storage units. So I'm thinking about putting the auto crafting grid up there as well. Like, I kind of wanted to do like a full grid. Like, I was really picky about stupid things, completely honestly. It really is a case where I just need to tear it down. Just the whole thing, just start over from square one, just be like, tear it all down. I got all these resources and whatnot. Why not just do it? Get it done. Stop being a pansy about it. But right now I'm working on trying to get another setup for auto crafting. Some more auto crafting grids set up, but there was the issue with trying to get it set correctly because The pipes are there. They're kind of in the way, which makes things a little difficult. Not the worst thing in the world, but it makes it a little difficult. So I do stack inserter first because I can use that for my setups. The advanced circuits and gears are the things it needs. I'm looking for the different stack inserters I have. And now, because the stack inserters can easily grab from the chest a lot can grab from the chests a lot easier because the items will stack up. So I can grab the whole 3 that it needs instantly. This is when I kind of realized I can do the shift click. You can actually ghost image tiles. I didn't know that. I was so excited when that happened. I was like, wait, I can ghost image tiles? Which means they'll just fill everything in themselves? They just go for it. Look at that. They just start building. It's awesome. Oh, I thought it was fantastic. I was like, oh my god, they can ghost image tiles. They can ghost image everything. It was just cool to see that. Kind of like made my day a little bit, you know? So, still working on the setups. You know, I spend so much time doing these auto crafting setups, but it's supposed to help me out a lot later on, you know? And that's the idea, just help me out with everything, like, less I have to do later. The more little things I do now, the less big things I have to do later. So I did notice at this point that we're like running a little low on steel because it's all being grabbed. So I was trying to figure out how I want to go about this. Because we have so many things using steel. We have trains are using the train setups are using steel. The steel chest is using steel. Even our ammo is using steel. So there's just a lot of things that are using up the steel, and we're not really set up with iron to process the steel correct, like to process more steel. So that's something I did have to worry about. There we go, cropping up the next train setup. I'm just making a small station here just for the copper that we're going to be grabbing in the near future. Just getting that copper all set up because that's really something we're running low on, and it's not going to last much longer. That's going to end really shortly. I noticed that coal was being auto-trashed, and I was like, oh, why was I doing that? I understand the other ores to be auto-trashed, but I wasn't really starting the coal thing. Kind of like having coal as a fuel that I have a lot of. Something I probably would like to keep in my inventory. Like a stack of it or something. Then beyond that, it's not necessary. I can get rid of the rest. Just, like a stack is fine. So just working on having an output. I'm going to output them directly into chests. This way that these are all going to be stack inserters pulling right from into the chest, and they're going to just immediately be pulled out of the chest. There's a little test. And the test worked perfectly. So I'm still working on it, going back and forth with that, like, it's being really stupid when it comes to that train. I was making like a bunch of like really dumb things doing, like, you kept like trying to leave him, trying to bring it back, and like switching between manual and auto, just trying to get things going. So it was pretty stupid of me, but it happens. And that's not the end of the world. So I ride the train down because now we need to do the actual setup for the copper. I got a whole whole thing of whole setup here. Now I need to add a new station. So this is kind of close in the setup, but it was enough room to do what I needed. So got a small station here set up. We're not doing anything like spectacular with the setup, just enough. That's all we need. Get rid of those, get the whole thing going. I need to rename that to Copper 1. Getting that out of the way and get ourselves set up. I notice how it's a little tight here, so I was trying to use a splitter to get that going. So that's, you know, as even as humanly possible, which is still not the easy thing to set up. We are getting really close, so I went ahead and made a blueprint for this, and I can just copy that blueprint over. Get that thing out of the way. Darn rocks are always in my way. So I want to move that down so it's out of the way as well. Everything was just get in my way. Get out of my way, everything's. So go ahead and place these down, filling up the whole mining area so that we have plenty of copper in the super near futures. And eventually it just became easier just to do the run rather than doing the grid that I was setting up before. So the auto crafting thing wasn't really working for me on this one. So I had to just do it manually. It just seemed easier that way. So the base setup is that you'll have a single power setup for every 6. You do an underground belt so it doesn't get in the way. And then where you have each power pole, you'll also place a light, which you'll see in the really near future. That's what I do. I put a light down as well. There we go. There's some light placing right there. This way I can just run the line straight up, no stopping, no need to like refix every time an extra belt was placed because there's nothing there. The lights also makes it very easy to see at night when it gets super dark. So this makes the whole situation easier both now and in the future. So here we go. We have the 2 setups there. I wanted to do 3 splitters to make it as even as possible, but there wasn't a lot of room to work with, so I just made that last line straight. And there we go. It's all filled with copper. It's going to go straight up. Into here. It's all going to be unloaded into that chest right there, and then the robots are going to come pick them up. And that, my good friends, is a good spot to have active providers. It's really cool. Yeah, it's nice that I actually figured out like a good reason for this. I couldn't for the longest time figure out as to like what they're even really good for, but I finally figured it out. Then here I placed down the good old-fashioned requester chests, requesting all that copper, so it can just be added to it. And there it comes. Place the power down, and so go ahead and place down the splitter there. And that's it. We're all good for now. It's all working. We got the copper going in. So for now, this is ACryInShame, and there's signing out. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Hello everyone, this is ACryInShame, part of the Long Journey by team. If you like this video, hit the like button below to let us know. If you didn't like it, hit that dislike and then comment below as to what we could do better so we can improve ourselves. Also, if you want to see more videos made by the Long Journey by team, hit the subscribe button below and get some notifications through us, or through YouTube, about us. If you want to help us out, you can go ahead and check our Patreon page. Just donate like $1 a month is a lot more than YouTube's been doing to support us. So go ahead, hit those likes, hit those subscribes, and support us if you feel. This is ACryInShame, signing out.